akatoa hiyo kofia yake ya Waislamu. His head did not have hair, but scars. I can be using these scars. He told me, I've been taken to mortuary twice. My family was big. My mother gave birth to 18 children, but twins were 6 times, so 12 were twins. So currently we are 13 alive, and I'm number 7. My mother was a farmer, a class 3 dropout, but we had a very big piece of land. We could not, food was not an issue because we had cassavas, potatoes, and cows. All of them were at home. My father used to work with the Umia's Sugar Company, and he would come maybe once in a year. And whenever he came home, we were not very comfortable because he was this guy who was very harsh. He would come and beat everybody. So we were always happy when he's away. So it came a time when now I think his job ended, and he came back home full time now. And at this time now he was drinking, and he could just start beating even from the mother to the last born. So my mother packed and left with all girls. So all girls went to the mother. We remained boys at home, and we were 4 boys. There's an elder boy ahead of me. I'm the second born. There were 2 boys behind me. So after that, it was now us with the father, and it was so harsh, a very harsh environment. He began selling land. We had like 8 acres of land. He began selling them one by one. So no one could stop me because my elder brother was also a very young boy by that time. And then when it was now remaining 2 acres, I think a village elder came and told us, your father is selling all of this land, and we end up on streets. When he sold the land, he went alone. He left the 4 of us at home. Now we didn't have a father, we didn't have a mother. And by that time, there were no phones. We didn't know where our mother had gone to. Before our parents went away, we used to go to the posho mill and collect the flour that was dropping down the brown, and then we would make food for the dogs. But now when our mother went, it reached a point that we could not even afford that food in the house. So we began going to the posho mill again, picking the flour, making ugali. The ugali was always brown, and then you could think it's millet, but it was just the sand that was in it. So the 4 of us became so much malnourished and so skinny. We were only walking with t-shirts torn with a very big belly protruding from them. And we were living in a very huge house, grass-thatched house that was all holes at the roof. The rain would just come and go through into the house. And our doors were facing the north side, whereby when it was raining, water would just come and fill the whole house. So life became so hard. Now there was no one to provide for us. Our brother could go to Vibarua and bring us some food, but now it reached a point he also got tired. So he left, went to Kakamega to look for a harding job. So now I became the first born, now acting. So it reached a point now, a cousin of mine came to visit us from Eldoret. This guy came with 5 liters of juice, a crate of soda, a crate of bread. So it was nice, unga, chapati, sugar, so many food stuff. So we were eating like now Christmas. So we ate so well, and he would provide for us. He was there for 2 weeks. Then he told me, you look like a very bright boy. Na mimi nataka nikupeleke Eldoret, you go and stay with you. I said fine, because now ilikuwa sasa kila mtu maisha yake. My brother ameenda, mimi pia nijipange, wengine watajipanga kivyao. Reaching Eldoret, I was so surprised to find a cemented house for the first time in my life, because our church was muddy, our school was made of mud, our home. So nilishanga kuona nyumba ambayo ukigonga chini, it's so hard. Hata nilikuwa nashangaa nini hizi. And the guy had a TV in the house. It was colored TV. I'd never seen a colored TV in my life. Under the bed there were radio cassettes, music systems, and food was in that house 24/7. After some time, this guy will tell me utaniamsha usiku nifanye maombi. So I had this small alarm clock. I would just weka alarm ikifika sana maamsha mimi narudi kulala. I was sleeping on a seat yako kitanda. So mimi nalala, anafanya maombi zake. Nikiamka asubuhi napata shopping kwa nyumba, things are in the house, food stuffs, everything is there. So I didn't know what was happening. So I got curious. So one night when he told me he was praying, I just stayed alert. He prayed, he finished, then I saw him going outside. So I took a stone and placed it at the door, so that in case akirudi nisikie. So nikarudi nikalala. So he went away. By around 3 a.m. I heard the door being pushed, the stone being moved away. I peeped, the guy came in, there were like 7 guys. So they got in with the cargos, wamebeba vitu kwa kichwa, zingine kwa bega, vitu ngakapo, wakaanza kugawana. everybody went home. So after that morning, after I think 2 days, the guy came and told me, I think by now you know what I'm doing. Nikasema, no, I don't know what you're doing. Akasema, you know, the other day, nikitoka hapo nijifanya umelala, si ndio? Nikasema mimi nilikuwa nimelala. No. Si nilitoka nikachungulia kwa dirisha ukachukua mke yako kwa mlango. You are so sharp, I saw you. When you came back at 3, nilikuja kuangalia kwa macho. Mtu kama amelala, you cannot see the eyes shaking. But your eyebrows were shaking, meaning ulikuwa unanisikiliza tu. So now you know what I'm doing this time. And you have 2 options. One is either you join us or you go home. So now you know what I'm doing this time. And you have 2 options. One is either you join us or you go home. So I imagined about our house. Bilikuwa imesalana job by now ishaanguka. So nikasema no, I can't go back to that life. So I had to join the gang, and my role was very simple. Because I was a very skinny boy, they will just make a hole and then let me in, and then I'll go and open for them the door. So I remember one time I was pushed to a room. So my work was to go in. It was a shop, mbele ni shop, then nyuma the people sleep there. So my work was to go inside there, get the key, open for them, and then let people guys in. So I went to the house. Nilitokeza tuko bedroom chini ya miguu za hao couples. So the first thing was to look for the key, but it was dark. So nikatafuta socket kwa ukuta nikawasha. Switching on the light, I saw the key. It was just next to a stool near the bed. But the husband woke up. Akasema, "Nani amefungua light? Au kuzima light?" They said, "No, mimi nilisima light. It's some mtu amewasha light." So nikajifinya tu chini ya bed hapo chini kabisa. Nikanyamaza. So the guy came, looked around, switched off the light. But I had already seen the key. So nikasikia ameanza kusnow, nikajua amelala. So I went, picked the key. There were just I think 3 years kwa mingi. Nikapita kwa hiyo mlango, nikaenda kwa front door, nikafungua the door. We carried everything and went away. There was a time we were passing somewhere, then we saw a very big charcoal. Inaitwaje? Makaa imechomwa na imepoa imezima. The guy told him, "Msitugie toi makaa leo usiku." We took charcoal, kila mtu gunia moja. I was young, but I carried that full bag of charcoal on my head. Tukaenda nazo. So it's like the owner of this charcoal, not that the guys who came to stay. So the following day, akanoa panga vizuri. Kuja kakaa hapo. Na sisi tena tukarudi the following day, we came back again. Tukatoa makaa tukamaliza. Tukaenda kwa magunia. The guy was in front of me, I was following behind. So I didn't know there was a guy behind me following me, but now he could not do anything because it was a very secluded place. Hakuna manyumba. So alikuwa na wewe alisafike pepe nyumba ziko ndio maybe draw attention. So as we are going, nikasema nyuma yangu, "Nyinyi ndio mnaiba makaa zangu." So turning back, the guy alileta tupanga to cut me. I just left that gunia ya makaa. He cut that gunia into 2 equal halves. Moja ikaenda huku, ingine huku. I screamed. He also got scared. So things happened in a very short time. I left running. The guy we were with, I don't know where he went. It was around 3 a.m. Nilizunguka ile mzima nikitafuta venye tunakaa because hata network ilipotea. Now what made me leave that thing, he had taught me how to get food. Ama escort, bila pesa, niambia ndio escort. So he had given me a wire. So mimi nitakuja kwa duka na gonga tondo. Kuna nauliza kitu hiyo bia iko. Mko na doom? Nasema doom iko. Mko na gani? Nataka kale kadogo. Hiyo hakuna, naenda next. Tondo. Kama mtu hayuko, I'll just pull the bread, the kangumu, the mandazi and go away. So that evening nimezunguka nikitafuta escort kwa maduka na gonga mtu anakuja. So I had now given up. So when I was going back home, nikaona wamama wamekaa. Sasa wameanza kuwasha. It was around 6:30. Wamewasha lamps kwa street, wanauza pomboga nini. So kulikuwa na malikuwa wanauza avocado. So I picked avocados. 2 huku 2 nikatoka mbio. Na watu wakaanza, "Mwizi." So the crowd was behind me, a very huge crowd. And just like 2 weeks before that, a small boy of Nigeria was just killed by crowd because walijua gangs are using boys. So I knew I was the next. So this gang followed me, nikatupa avocado, hasa nakimbia tu kujirescue. I ran so fast, naangalia nyuma, more energy is getting on the gang, on the rails. So nikafika mbele niko hasa nimeisha. Nikaona a very small wall, nikapanda nikaanguka huko. Nikasema let them come and finish me. Penye nilikuwa nimeruka, it was a dumping site, so there was no way I could convert, it was just the end. And the guy was behind me and quite very close to me, was like, I think like 5 meters too. I don't know how this guy did not see me fall in that wall. So mimi nilikaa hapo, nikasikia mwizi, miguu zinapita tu nyuma hiyo wall. Mwizi, the whole crowd passed and went. So I was there saying, ni Mungu amenisave kweli, because najua Mungu inafaa side na watu wazuri. In this case I'm the bad guy. But anyway, it was God who saved me. So nikatoka nikaenda home, and then the guys were laughing. Yani umesurvive. Haujakufa. Nikamwambia, my friend, me almost died today. I said, yeah. And the rule was that ukishikwa ni wewe na police na umati. No one will come and help you. Unamalizananga kwa hivyo. So I told this guy, me, I'm going home. Nikamwambia, going home to do what? Nikamwambia, no. Me is now the second time karibu ni wawe. So the guy akanitolea shati. He took off his shirt and showed me his back. Can you look at my back? The guy had scars. Those scars that he loves in Afura. Akatoa hiyo kofia ya Waislamu. His head did not have hair, but scars. I can be using these scars. He told me, I've been taken to mortuary twice. People knew I was dead. I've been beaten by mob justice twice. And the more you are beaten, the stronger you become. Look at me. He showed me very big scar. Show me one scar that you have that's making you to leave this job. I told him I don't want to reach that. No, let me just go back. So he gave me transport. I went back home. Yes, I reached home. The house was not there. It had already fallen down. And my brothers, the elder one was still in Kakamega. Then the youngest one was taken by a grandmother. And just 3 months after leaving that gang, all of them died. So reaching home, the only place I would go was to my grandmother's home. So she knew the exposure nimekuwa nayo, obviously nimechange. And actually I had become a thief. So I went and looked for a neighbor who told me there's a guy who was looking for someone to herd his cows. So nikapeleka kwa a guy alikuwa na mbuzi mingi na ndama moja. I discovered I had become a thief ile mbaya. And I was so innocent such that I was still in that house. Huyo boss angechapa watu wake but mimi singechapa. Because they would say Salano can never. Salano hizi guza kitu ya mtu. I was so harmless, very humble. No one knew that I was a thief. So during that period, my elder brother came from Kakamega. And he was one guy I really respected even up to today because I didn't want him to know that I was a thief. Sikutaka ajue mimi ni mwizi. So one day he came to visit me where I was taking cows. Akaniambia, tunasikia siku hizi umekuwa mwizi sana. Wanasema unapita mahali kitu inapotea. Unapita mahali kitu inapotea. Let me tell you this. You're going to be jailed or you're going to be stoned to death. Those are the only options you have in this life. That guy broke my heart. Nikasema hasa mbona amejua hii kitu. So that day I went and made a prayer for the first time. Nikamwambia Mungu, did you make me a thief? If the answer is yes, I want you to help me from today niibe nisiaishi. If the answer is no, help me from today nisiwaiba. But now like any other addiction, hata kama ni drunkenness, ukisemanga sitawahi leo kuanzia leo, guys come, kuja nani kubaya leo free. So chances increased after that. I'll go to a shop. Nafika hivi, yani mkate na niangalia tu. Things I just used to take, they're now exposing themselves so much. Naingia kwa duka hivi, before I take the honor, kama sema wa thank God leo sijaiba. So I'll look at the day siku inaisha kama jana nasema thank God leo sijaibia mtu kitu. Now the last one now that broke that addiction, there was a football match happening in our home kwa uwanja tu. Alafu nilikuwa nimekaa hapo nachunga mbuzi na hiyo ng'ombe. And I told myself nishaacha wizi. I was being paid 400 shillings per month. So nikasema kuku ilikuwa shilingi 200. Nikasema I want to get this 400 shillings, nibae kuku mbili. Kuku zikizaana, niuze ninunue mbuzi, mbuzi zaane ninunue ng'ombe, ng'ombe shamba. Nilikuwa songo. So nilikuwa nishapiga sababu how I'll be a rich person in the future. So I'm now in this field, mpira inaendelea kuchezwa na nimekaa hapo. There was a guy mwenye amekaa kando yangu. So this guy stood up. Alikuwa ameshika jacket kwa mkono. Alisema hivyo, a very fat wallet fell down. Na mimi nikachukua wallet nikakalia. This guy began walking. Ana piga mpira wewe songa huko, akitembea akienda. Na mimi nikapata wallet. No one saw me. So I stood up with that wallet, nikaenda nyuma ya mti. That's just the time walikuwa introduced note ya 1000 Kenyan shillings. Opening that wallet, it had notes the 1000 mingi. Hata nikashindwa kwa sababu nikakunja. Nikasema this is God. Mungu hataki nianze na kuku ama mbuzi. Nataka nitoke direct kwa shamba na nikuwe so. This is God. Something told me Salano, hiyo pesa si yako. You know the owner of that, nirudishie mwenyewe. Nikasema hii leo sijaiba hii, nimetoa tu chini. Sometimes you know the owner of this money, take it back. So I began working with this money, very divided minds. Nikaenda nikafuata huyu jamaa, nikamguza. Jamaa akot, wewe piga mpira huko. Nikamguza yeye tena, jamaa ashtuki. Nikasema God, you see I've tried. So I tried this guy for the second time, he never responded. I said, God, you've seen I've tried, amekataa hizi pesa. Namshika mara ya mwisho. If he doesn't respond, I'm going. Na hii ni pesa yangu. So kumshika hivi akataniambia, what's wrong with you? But kuniangalia naona nimeshika wallet kwa mkono. I was like, what? Akachukua ile wallet, akahesabu it had 32,000 Kenyan shillings. 32, hiyo ilikuwa pesa mingi sana. Akahesabu, he was so shocked. Akasema hii pesa ningeanzia wapi? Pesa haikuwa yangu. Hii pesa ilikuwa sijui ya club na ya chama was to bank today, lakini kachelewa kwenda bank. Woi, ningeanzia. When tonani? Thank you so much. So he gave me 200 Kenyan shillings. Imagine half of my salary. Imagine what you are earning, someone gives you half of that salary for free. So I felt so relieved and I felt so good that I returned this thing that person. So since that day, I broke the addiction of stealing from that day. That's how I overcame it. Yeah, so after that, the brother who was now following me was poisoned where he was working. And then he got so sick and then he died. So when he passed on, that's now the time people came to the funeral. Now I saw my mother, I saw my father came also. Hasa wakashangaa. Yani life is nobody knows where anybody is. So my mother asked me, hey, class gani saizi? Because by then, since class 1 was always number 1, from class 1, class 2. So even when my mother left, I was a very bright boy. So akaniambia siku zifika class ngapi? Niambia, mimi shule niliacha kitambo hata siku hizi. Niachana shule. What? No, you must go back to school. So after that funeral, she took me, went with, she was now living in Kisumu. Alikuwa anafanyia Wahindi kazi. Hii kazi ya kuosha nguo za Wahindi nini. So akaniambia, narudi shuleni. So see, because I dropped in class 4, I was just doing class 1 can drop. Now when I went to Kisumu, I joined class 5 second term, and I became number 1. But we were only 3 in that class, so I was number 1 out of 3. So the next time going to class 6, I was taken to a better school where I joined. In class 6, I performed so well. I became always number 1. Class 8 finished. Now when I reached class 8. I saw I had achieved everything because so far I was the most learned guy in that family. And I was not even thinking about going to high school. I got 383 marks out of 500. And that time, I was the second best in that school. I had broken a record that no one could ever break in our family again. So I was very comfortable. My mom told me, never went to Form 1. I know what I talking about. Form 1. Our family, how? Because at I so she told me I've been saving something small, but I want you to go home and get some money from your brother. Now my elder brother had begun establishing himself and alikuwa anataka bricks akiuza, anaunda vitu vidogo akiuza. He told me go back home, get if you can give something kuja uingie shuleni. I was called to a school called Kisumu Boys High School in Kisumu, but because the fee was very high, I could not manage. So I went to another school called Kisumu Day High School. That was somehow cheaper. It was a day school. So nikajoin shule. I went alone. My mother told me siwezi enda shuleni mimi hata sijui Kizungu. So I joined the school on a Monday in Form 1. Kufika on Thursday, my mother passed away. Now I was now in that house now. Me with the young sisters, I don't know what to do. It was a mix up. I've just joined the school. I have no relative in Kisumu. Watu wako nyumbani, hizo ndio siku nili kuimba kujia tu simu za jamii. So wenda kwa simu ya jamii, you call in the village one person who has a phone, ndiye atapeleka ujumbe maybe after 2 days. So in that harakati bado tunakuwa confused nini. My uncles heard about it. Now the brothers to my mother came and took the body away, buried, they chased us from the funeral. We never attended the funeral of my mother. Ikaisha hivyo. Now I'm here again. Safari yangu shule ni kama imeisha. I don't am going to go back to school. Sijui nitaendaje because fee hata mwenye atalipa hakuna. But now when I look back at all these incidences, I always see that God had a plan for any of them. If my brother, I'm not celebrating his death, but if my brother could not have passed away, my second one, that will be the end of me. So his death was redeeming back to go back to school. If my mother could not die, singemaliza shule because angeanza kwa afford fee. So that title of orphan helped me to be kupata favors kutoka watu tumsaidie nini. So I was not after that death it really affected me. I was never a performer again. In first term in form 1 I was number 263 out of 265. Term 2 I was number 261 out of 265. Term 3 I was number 260 out of 265. So in the whole form 1 I was being called as the bottom 10. Nilikuwa kwa hiyo list. So tukakuwa push kutoka form 2. Form 2 term 1 I was number 261 out of 265. Term 2 I was number 254 out of 264. I think we are now bilolipanga the bottom 10s. Now mimi ndio sasa nilikuwa chopi au bottom 10s. So when during that closing day there's a very famous guy from Kisumu, he's called Elisha Bok. He's a principal of many schools in Kisumu. He came to school alafu akasema, if you always get biology 02, it doesn't mean you are a point biology, it means you know true. So just look for the remaining 28. Kama unapatanga maths 10, inamaanisha unajua 10. Tafuta the remaining 20 out of 30. So nikasema huyu jamaa anajua what he's saying well, because me geography was my worst, chemistry was my worst, almost everything was my worst. So when we closed term 1, I went home. Nikaanza kusoma afresh, reading everything. And now, that was now term 2. Sasa ilifaa tufunge term 3, niende form 3. Coming back from my brother ananiambia bro, sasa next term hata manage kupeleka kwa shule. If ya kwenda form 3, sioni kama iko. What you do? Nataka kukuja kwanza utoke shuleni. The whole of that year tukaa nyumbani tupige tu bricks. We just make bricks January, February, March, page ifika August tuunda bricks. Ikifika October tuchome hizo bricks. Then tuuze November, December hapo hivyo. Then when you know to form 3 and form 4 once and for all. I thought that's a very good idea. So nikae nyumbani mwaka moja alafu tutunde pesa. So I agreed to that idea. So I was just to come and clear with the school. Unaanza na class teacher, library, kila mahali. So nikaenda kwa principal sasa nishakilia ndio alikuwa mwisho. Akaniambia Salano, why you going? Naambia nenda nyumbani. Ndugu yangu amesema hizi nilipie school fees. So naenda tutengeneze bricks. Mimi nilikuwa namwambia with intention anihurumie, yanipatia niambie no usiende. Akaniambia sawa. Akasema wewe enda piga bricks. Ukijisikia bricks umdai karibu. Ukijisikia uende shule nyingine all the best. So naenda nikiangalia nyuma kama ataniita. Naenda the guy is just busy. So sometimes nihurumie naenda piga bricks. Anyway. So me I left. So that was the closing day now. Closing day, my name was everywhere. The most improved student, Salano, from position 254 to position 8. Best in sciences, Salano. Best in mathematics, Salano. Best prefect, most humble. So my name was, the whole day it was just Salano. Hard principal akasema, wapi kijana amewaita kila wakati Salano huyu? At stand up. Adu kijana nitaenda apige matofali nyumbani kwa sababu ana school fees. Na bila amefanya vizuri. So I'm asking Salano to come back next year and join boarding section for free. So I came, I didn't believe that was happening to me. So I came, joined boarding section. I was there shopping, nilikuwa nafanywa na walimu hadi nikamaliza my 4th form, passed so well. Job took me when to get to and do my degree.